Welcome back to the Games End podcast. You are joined by myself, Atty.
I'm Evan.
And I'm Shashank.
Evan, do the barrel roll thingy.
Oh dear.
Do a barrel
I
roll.
gotta get that again. Oh no.
Do a barrel roll.
We gotta stop doing visual gags.
Yeah.
They only work on YouTube.
Yeah. Or audio listeners.
So today, has been a weird day for me personally so far, but I've got posters up. I have a Breath of the Wild poster behind me and a Persona 5 one to my right, and I also have I set up my Zelda shrine, which
Nice.
consists of Hyrule Historia, the Zelda Encyclopedia, a bunch of amiibos, and a really pretty poster.
Yes.
How are you guys doing today?
Just tired for me.
Did you actually get sleep after the charity stream?
Yes, I slept for 16 hours.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, it was a interesting time.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about
Speaking
you?
of charity stream,
Charity
how was
stream.
yours, Shashank?
I mean, like, the charity stream was phenomenal. I got to play Hollow Knight for the first time, which was good. And then afterwards I was like, maybe I'll take a nap, and then I slept for like 8 hours in the middle of the day.
As one does
Yeah.
after 24-hour event.
Yep. Nicely done.
You took like
We-
the night block, didn't you? The night shift.
Yeah, me and Evan were up at like 5 a.m. Man, yeah. After that, I just conked off, and then I woke up at like 2 p.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we managed to raise 350 Canadian dollars.
325.
325 Canadian dollars.
Yep.
In
Absolutely
support of
insane.
Shades of Color, yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We're just making charity streams a regular thing now. They're just an
Honestly.
event. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
People seem
If
to
they're
like
Uh,
that
speak-
successful, like, hey.
Yeah. I think Shashank and I have the exact same thought at the exact same time. Speaking of which, we are the Games Den. We are a student club at the University of Alberta, focusing on game development. We make, talk, and play video games and board games. Funny story. I'll tell you guys later in a bit, but I just remember this funny story. We get professional speakers from the industry to talk and share their insights. We host game jams, charity streams where people play and make games. But yeah, funny story time. When the Games End rebranding happened, and we were at Clubs Fair trying to recruit people for the club, there was a lady who walked up to the booth, and she says, like, so do you guys like play, make, talk, like all kinds of games? And we're like, yeah, like video games, board games, like we love them all. Or even like, competitive board games like mahjong, chess, whatever. We love all that stuff. And she's like, oh, it's awesome. Do you do hide and seek? And I went, and I went, I never thought of that as a game, but it is.
What were the designers thinking when they designed hide and seek? I wonder. Why only one seeker?
While some emergent gameplay options do provide more seekers.
Yeah, that's true.
Hide and seek is the ultimate dexterity D&D. Think about it. I was holding in my laughter like so hard because I didn't want to seem like I was judging this lady. That was a genuine question. I never thought of hide and seek as a game after I became a game developer, and I'm just like,
Yep.
And then she asked me where the hide and seek club on campus is, and I didn't know the answer to that.
Well, they're hidden. You have to find them.
Yeah, to find
Yeah,
them.
that's the entire point.
Oh my god.
Now I'm
Um,
kind of interested in like running a session a session of hide and seek at the game stand.
Oh no.
My god. If you guys are interested in joining the GameSden Discord, you can go to www.thegamesden.ca to find our Discord link and everything else that you need to contact and know about us. So feel free to check that out.
Yeah.
Our website is not hidden. You don't need to look very far to find it. But yeah, like, have you guys ever had a story like that? Or, well, you guys knew exact, so you're gonna find out what Club Sphere is actually like.
Well,
You get all sorts of weird people coming over.
in
asking
high
weird
school,
questions.
we had like our own club stay, right? And I was helping run the booth for the technical theater program. So many people came up and asked us, so like, do you guys do like DJing and stuff? And we're like, not really, no. We do like lights and audio and stuff. And they're like, audio, so like DJing, right?
Oh man, Ophelia walks onto stage, enters soliloquy. Turn down for what?
Oh no, dude.
Oh,
I mean, the I can't remember the name of them on campus. They did like modern day Shakespeare last year, right? They had someone vaping. I remember hearing about that. I was like, oh god.
yeah. The theater kids, I feel, are like, there's a stereotype around them, you know?
Yeah.
There's a very specific stereotype around them. And in my experience with the theater kids that I've met on campus, they all kind of fit that stereotype.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like I haven't met enough theater kids if that's the case, but the ones I have met definitely fit into that stereotype.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Having been
Yeah, it's universal at this point.
It's universal.
having been in theater. Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway,
We're running a podcast.
That's a thing, isn't it?
it's a thing. What have you guys been playing?
Evan, you want to go first?
Yeah, so my life has kind of been consumed with that charity stream, just both being in it and preparing for it. So really, all I played has been on that, which was a wonderful one-shot of D&D.
Yeah.
And then me and Shashank, we did a randomizer Nuzlocke race in Pokemon Platinum,
Oh yeah. That
which was quite the experience.
We got probably the best for an entertaining stream, but worst randomizer Nuzlocke randomizer that we could get. For those of you who haven't seen the VOD or the stream, the first gym itself was a dragon type gym, including trainer Pokemon that had Dragon Rage, which just like one shots you at early levels.
Yeah.
And then the end of the stream, we got up to the fight with Mars at the Windworks. And she just pulls out a Dialga.
Yeah. And it's funny that that's what wiped us, considering that first gym, the gym leader had Latios and Latias.
Yeah.
But that one was easier somehow.
Somehow the Latios and Latias weren't even the toughest Pokemon on his team. The toughest was a Gibble.
Because the Gibble had Dragon Rage. The Latios and Latias had Psybeam. Yeah, and there's a bit of a dichotomy going on, because Shashank, you had gotten like a full night's sleep at that point.
Yeah.
This was at 8 a.m. I have been awake for the past 24 hours at that point. And it got to the point where it's like, oh, I really need to grind to beat these trainers. But grinding is so boring. I'm literally falling asleep as I'm trying to grind, so I can't grind. I just had to try to push my way through. And beat the gyms at lower levels than I should be.
Uh,
Uh,
Did I ever tell you about? I tried doing the randomizer, Nuzlocke for Pokemon X and Y,
mm.
and um, the very first Pokemon I encountered was a Giratina in the wild grass.
Oh.
Um, and I lost a Nuzlocke within the span of 20 minutes playing it.
yep.
Very fun. Uh, randomized Nuzlocks are always like so hit or miss. Like, it either be fantastic experiences to play, and terrible experiences. Well, they're fun to watch either way, I think.
Yeah.
Regardless of like whether or not you're getting screwed over or not.
Yep.
But wow, Dialga, like he pulls out a Dialga. Classic.
Yeah.
What have you been playing, Shashank?
Well, the only games I've been playing were on the charity stream because apparently it takes a lot of time to run one of those. So I played for the first time, going in blind, almost blind, and not quite the first time, Hollow Knight. It's such a fun game. I accidentally set it to Korean. So we played the game in Korean for a bit. It was great. It's just so good at what it is, right? Because I love Metroidvania games, right? Those GBA Castlevania games, love those. And so playing this, which is like, not only is it a modern take on it, it's a fan's take on it, right? Which means you get what people enjoy about those games. That's pushed to the forefront. So I enjoyed it. I'm gonna play it again.
That's really awesome. I'm not much of a platformer person.
Right.
The only platformers that I've really enjoyed are like Ori. I've really enjoyed Metroid series. And like that's kind of it. I don't really like platformers otherwise. I remember I got Rayman Legends for free once, and I just tried playing that, and I'm like, I can't do this, man. Even like Mario, I don't like Mario games, because I don't like platforming. Even though their aesthetic is always really fun and interesting design to kind of look at.
Yeah.
But then Hollow Knight, I played Hollow Knight, and I'm like, this game, if you really want me to play a Metroidvania, you need to have a very strong aesthetical foundation to it. Like, otherwise, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna get hooked by it. But Hollow Knight's, the choices you have to make, like the lore, everything is just so gripping. No spoilers, but like the story is actually like mind-blowingly well done for a platformer. Like, it's kind of awesome. It's like easily on par with Blind Forest, or maybe even like better than that in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're right. Team Cherry are fans of this of Metroidvanias, and so they definitely like push it to the forefront. The DLC is so good. So like if you get a chance after beating the main game, like I highly recommend the DLC.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't want to play the game many times. So I just looked up how to get the true ending, and I just went for the true ending. Because I don't like Metroidvanias, or platformers. I suck at platforming.
Yeah.
I don't have the thumb dexterity to platform. Like, I just don't, and it's like hard. Whereas I see like Eric and Boris try to do it, and it is like there's so much practice with it, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight is a game. I don't like platformers. I recommend that game.
Yeah.
Over and over again, as long as it takes. I also didn't get time to play many games over last week, but during the charity live stream, I got a game during the Steam summer sale called Wildermyth. That's Wildermyth. And it is an early access game. So it's not completed yet. It's not a full game yet. Kind of more like a later stage prototype is how I describe the game. It's not very polished, but whatever I've played of the game so far, like I've been thinking about how do I describe this game on the podcast, and like it's a roguelite PCG tactical RPG D&D game.
Okay.
That's a lot of letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to parse that.
And so the reason I call it that is because like the objective of the story is like you're basically doing run-based gameplay to like build your own story effectively, and your story and your map and your characters are all generated by the AI, pseudo AI, I guess. And so each character is, has like, it's all mix and match, right? It's all pseudo generation. So you have like random faces, random personality traits, random flaws, random classes, random alignments. And you start with this party of 3 people, and the main currency of the game is time. It's days. And so it takes time for you to travel from one place to the other.
Right.
While you're doing that, like enemies get stronger with each encounter you take, because the enemies in every single battle are drawn off a deck actually, and so the game shows you that whenever a new enemy, whenever you fight an enemy or whenever you beat an enemy, a new card is added to that deck of a stronger variety. And you get to spend points to actually remove some enemies from the deck if you want to.
Right.
Okay.
It's really interesting. Yeah. And the core gameplay loop is like you choose to like build stuff in the places which you're freed from the clutches of evil, and then you can choose to explore further areas of the map that you haven't explored, where things are happening. And you go on your main quest, and you have different side quests which are called events, where different things happen to your characters. For example, one of my characters got stabbed in the foot with like a piece of branch, but apparently she was possessed by, well, there's an elm soul in her heart now, and so in the visual representation of the game, her hair becomes green, and you can see that she has a little bit of an attitude shift, but she also gains new abilities. Like for example, she can absorb sunlight and heal. And one of my other characters was downed in a boss fight against a Gorgon. And so turns out like his arm was maimed, because I had 2 options, right? One, I could make him retreat out of battle, and he suffers a wound, or 2, he just goes in for the last stand and dies. Right. So I had 2 options. I picked the one to save him, and so after the battle, because he's my strongest character, after the battle, like it skips forward. So after every single chapter, you get certain years of peace. So 5 years go by, and all the characters have aged. So all the characters have a retirement age, which is when they retire. And so you recruit new characters to kind of fill up the party slots. And this character came back in the next chapter with a stone arm, because he was infected by the Gorgon. And so now he just has a stone arm growing out of his body, and it's shown visually, and it's really cool. So all this stuff is like generated, right? This is all story generated stuff. Like it's not pre-planned. Right. The game responds to your actions, which I really like.
Yeah.
The core gameplay loop is very addicting. It's very, very good. So the concept is innovative. It's treading new territory, and I love it. It's not polished yet, so I recommend following the game and buying it if you really, really like the aesthetic. But I would do what I can to support the devs and to give them feedback. So I think that it's good to do that.
Right.
Wildermyth is a really cool game. Check it out.
All right.
Sorry, that took a while. I had a lot of thoughts on this game because I've been playing it a while.
Yeah, like it sounds like a very interesting concept. Just having everything about this be completely tailored to how you play, what the story generates, right?
Mm-hmm. And your options definitely matter. Everything you choose matters.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out.
This is what games are meant for. Choices.
'Cause
Unlike Last of Us 2, I'm kidding.
last episode, we don't talk
Oh,
about stuff we talked about in last episode.
That's right.
Yep. Well, it's done
I
and
was-
over with.
Is this a recurring joke? I'm gonna always be like, unlike Last of Us 2, and then be like, I'm kidding, it's a good game. I've been watching Aaron stream it on his Twitch, and it looks really cool, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So today's talk is gonna be fire. I have been interested in talking about the Pokemon Company and Nintendo and their interesting mobile strategies.
Interesting is
After
definitely a way to describe
I'm
it.
trying to take a neutral path right now. I will become very opinionated later on, but I'm trying to take a neutral path right now. Just to introduce the topic gently.
Okay,
not
all
like,
right, let's hear it. Let's hear the gently.
Yep.
It's so the Pokemon Company recently did a Pokemon Direct where they revealed a game called Pokemon Unity, which is a mobile MOBA, multi-platform MOBA Pokemon game. And the video on YouTube has exponentially more dislikes than likes. And there are a lot of comments even on our Discord saying like this game is 5 years too late, etc., etc. And it's developed by Tencent, who own a lot of game
A
studios,
lot of-
but also
Yeah.
Riot Games, who are famous for League of Legends.
Mhm.
And so, well, they don't own Riot Games, but they own a large percentage of Riot Games. Basically key shit stakeholders. So this was interesting for me for a couple of reasons. One, Nintendo is partnering with Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
Their entire like ad for that game during the direct had Japanese and Chinese players compete against one another, which was definitely Tencent being like. So that was interesting. But why did we need to see a Pokemon MOBA game?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why did it have a direct devoted to it only?
What were the Pokemon Company thinking when they decided to greenlight this game? I'm not saying this from a negative perspective. I'm asking a genuine question. I'm not gaslighting you. I'm not game, but I'm asking a genuine question. Like, I wonder what they were thinking when they greenlighted this. But maybe they just know people are gonna play it and purchase the loot boxes or whatever they're gonna use, right?
Yeah.
But I have a lot of tabs open. I'm waiting to shove stats and numbers and figures into your mouths. So I'll let you guys talk first, and I'll take my turn.
Oh man. So they've been trying to go towards mobile for quite some time now, right? Because that's been the justification for a lot of things in the main series being missing. Like, oh, kids play mobile games now, right? That's what they do. They've got short attention spans. They want easily digestible mobile games. And so I'm interested to know if this was an idea that someone from the Pokemon Company had, or if Tencent approached them with this idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it's gonna play, because when you see the Pokemon announcing other things like Pokemon Sleep and Smile, there's a very clear market they're going towards with that. Like, that's obviously for the younger demographic, people who are in developmental stages. But when we think about MOBAs, they have very high skill ceilings, and they're not played by young kids. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with a MOBA about Pokemon. Like, there's going to be the people who are trying to optimize and play it as best they can, like they do with any MOBA. And then there's going to be the kids playing it because it's a Pokemon game on mobile. So what's gonna happen there? What are we gonna see in terms of player interaction?
Yeah.
And as we all know, MOBAs are like the saltiest places on earth.
Oh, most definitely.
So I'm interested to see how many 5-year-old kids are gonna get the impression that you need to flame people because they didn't buy an item out of base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Where's your X attack, noob?
I'm waiting to see how the reception of this game is going to be like, and well, we already know the reception of the game, but how it's going to play like and how the player base evolves, because I am concerned for little kids playing this game, because it's a Pokemon game on mobile, just because of the fact that you're going to be introduced to a whole world of salt, just because it's a mobile game.
Okay, I'm bringing in. I should have like a counter. I'm bringing in personal opinion number 1 here. Personally, I kind of hope this game just fades into obscurity. I hope there's not some big controversy surrounding it. I hope people aren't like taking sides like, oh, I'm buying the game because I don't care. Oh, I refuse to buy the game. I just hope people are like, it's a bad game. I'm not gonna buy. No one plays it. Personally, because this is not the direction I want them to go in. Right?
I think I didn't think about this before, but I think you're right. Maybe Tencent is the one who approached Nintendo about this, right?
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. So some of the things I kind of want to talk about with regards to this is and bring up numbers and stuff here, is talking about the newer Pokemon titles. So I have this Wikipedia page open up right now, which is all of Nintendo's mobile games. So this is like 2015 to 2020. The last 5 years that has been the biggest boom of Nintendo mobile games.
Right.
Here are some of the games. We have Miitomo, which is now defunct as a game. Super Mario Run, Fire Emblem Heroes, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Dragalia Lost, which I didn't know was a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Dr. Mario World, Mario Kart Tour, and so that's 7 games, right?
Right.
You know how many Pokemon games there are on mobile? 12.
Wait, okay, let me see how many I know. Pokemon Go. Are we counting the ones like Pokemon Smile and Pokemon Sleep?
Yeah.
Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Smile, Pokemon Unity. Yeah, that's it. I
Go on. Let me list some of the ones that I have played myself.
Okay.
Pokemon Quest.
Oh yeah.
Pokemon Cafe Mix.
Right.
Pokemon Masters.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, obviously. Pokemon Rumble Rush, and now here I'm gonna list the ones that I haven't played.
Okay.
TCG Online.
Oh yeah, that's mobile.
Shuffle Mobile. Remember Pokemon Shuffle for the DS?
Yeah.
Shuffle Mobile. Pokemon Magikarp Jump.
Oh right.
I played that
one.
That was something.
And my favorite Pokemon mobile game, Pokemon Duel, which people don't know about. Which is basically RNG chess with Pokemon. So out of all the Nintendo games on mobile, 70% plus are Pokemon games.
Right.
And we'll get to this point later. This is important. We'll get to this later. And so what's important to me about this is that they've really used the Pokemon franchise to expand into mobile, like big time, right? And so my primary thoughts about this is that they saw the success of Pokemon Go and how it literally became the #1 app in the world for a brief period of time, right? And it's how it still sees success today. But that app was made by Niantic. Pokemon was just a franchise that was kind of for it's based off of Ingress.
Yep.
So Nintendo can't really call that app their own per se. It has a Pokemon name and the Pokemon likeness and everything else, but it's not really the Pokemon company's game. It's
Right.
Niantic's game.
Yep.
So let's kind of take Pokemon Go aside and be like, this is the gold standard of mobile Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go is like the thing. We want to make as much money as Pokemon Go, which, by the way, Pokemon Go made 894 million USD last year.
In just
last year, so not even at like peak.
Not even at it was the peak.
Oh,
Last year was
its peak?
Pokemon Go's peak.
Really?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, 894 million. The first year was 893 million. So just $1 million short. Just $1 million short. So just to kind of give context of the scale of money we're talking about here, right? So in my opinion, like there are some good Pokemon games that are on mobile. Pokemon Duel, I really liked it. It was actually really fun. Pokemon Masters is, in my opinion, second best Pokemon game on the App Store because it's actually story based and you get to see your protagonist come back and you have this interesting battle mechanic and it's pretty okay.
Right.
So and then you have the other games, everything else that's like Magikarp Jump, Cafe Mix, all these other games, right? Rumble Rush, Shuffle that very few people play, and it just blows my mind that they use the Pokemon franchise. There are that many mobile Pokemon games in the market.
Yep.
12. That's a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of Pokemon games that people just don't. Pokemon Quest, I played it for the first week after its release on Switch. Garbage game. It's like Pokemon Rumble, but just worse. And so it's like, I won't get too much into that, but Pokemon Smile and Sleep, Evan, this is where I disagree with you. I think that it's actually catered towards the demographic of parents, not kids.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the demographic of people who grew up with Pokemon and are now parents versus newer demographic as kids.
Right.
So I think that's kind of their actual target demographic with those games. If you can call it.
I can agree with that.
That's an interesting
know if they're
point,
games.
by the way. That they're targeting the demographic of people who grew up with Pokemon, and who have kids, right? We'll get back to that.
This is how they're gonna spread the virus. The Pokerus. This is how they spread Pokerus. They get the parents to infect the kids.
Yeah.
This is a bad analogy in current context.
Oh, very bad, but continue.
Okay. So now here's the thing. This is obvious to show that in the last 5 years, Nintendo's focus was put into mobile really hard.
Yeah.
The Switch being a hybrid console, but even moving like online platforms like Nintendo Switch Online to mobile, whatever else all that shit is, right? It doesn't work. And Nintendo has seen a lot of failures in the mobile market. But it's also seen a couple of successes. And I think this is because Nintendo's mobile strategy was quantity over quality, which I think is the right way to approach mobile markets.
Right.
Shoot as many shots as you can. One of them is bound to be a hit.
Right. Yeah. Just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks kind of strategy.
Yeah, literally though. And I think that was their strategy going into the mobile market for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, they scored some shots.
Yeah.
Let me bring out some statistics again just to prove my point. Nintendo mobile games brought in this is games industry biz. The numbers from Sensor Tower. $1 billion in lifetime revenue.
Whoa.
$1 billion Nintendo games have made in lifetime revenue.
Jeez.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
For like 5 years.
Yeah, and now Nintendo is backing out of the mobile market because they think it's not enough. So there's an IGN article about how Ishihara, someone else was saying that we're backing out of. Oh, it's raining. Let me just close the window real quick.
Okay.
But there was an article being like Nintendo is now backing out of the mobile market because they don't see the return on investment that they expected, which is like $1 billion is not enough money. You know,
Apparently not.
apparently not. So let me talk about the games that have made a hell ton of money, right? So Fire Emblem Heroes is a Nintendo game that has made the most amount of money in mobile markets, with a gross revenue of 656 million of global spending in 2018, I think 2019. I don't know how much it is now.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Did either of you ever play Brave Frontier?
No.
So another mobile gacha game by, I'm pretty sure, the same company who ended up developing Fire Emblem Heroes. I played Brave Frontier a lot, like far too much, as is standard with mobile gacha games, right? Once you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. In this case, what was it, 600 million?
656 million.
56 million, yeah. So
656 million. So yeah.
You know, like it's a formula that works, right?
Gotcha works.
Yeah.
Gotcha worked.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's and for me it's interesting that they saw the success of Fire Emblem Heroes and then chose not to make more gotcha games.
Right.
That's what's interesting to me. Because I guess the next highest grossing app in 2018, 2019 is Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Yeah.
At a much lower 131 million. Right. So there's a $500 disparity, $500 million disparity between those two games. And then you have Dragalia, which was 123 million, Mario Kart Tour for 86 million, Super Mario Run for 76 million, and Dr. Mario World for 4.8 million as their highest grossing games.
Right.
And so, like, it puzzles me to no extent that why they didn't just ride the gotcha train if they know it's making money. There must have been decisions for it.
Yeah.
The designers must have been against gotcha, because I know I have very mixed feelings about gotcha games.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to do it right, but I don't think anybody's really got it without the dark patterns.
Another thing to keep in mind is in Japan there are quite strict laws on gotcha games. So, yeah. That's right.
And actually, I don't know if these numbers are actually including Japan's numbers, because like it says App Store sales. I don't think Japan uses uses Google App Store. They have the same. I think they do, right?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah. So like, I either way, I think that it's because I know China has their own stuff, so it's like I'm not sure if Japan also has their own thing or not. But it blows my mind, right? It absolutely blows my mind that this is like kind of the amount of money they're making out of mobile games, and they don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
Because they did the right strategy. They shot multiple shots at the wall, and some of them stuck, and they made hella money. But they still didn't think it was enough.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you like how much they really expected from the mobile market and how much they didn't get out of it.
Right. I think
they expected to make more than $1 billion out of the mobile market. Probably a lot more since they backed out of it. Or backing out of it.
I think looking at it from a business perspective, they might have looked at some of the most successful apps, like take Fortnite for example, because that is Epic Games, arguably a competitor to Nintendo in the classic video game department, right? And then they release a mobile game which is hugely successful, right? So I think from a business point of view, they may have compared themselves to something like Fortnite and not seen that level of success.
And I also think that it's interesting because they shot really, really wide with all their games. They didn't like focus on one demographic. They like focus on many demographics. And the one they saw the most revenue out of are the weebs. Anyway, it's it's like it's really really interesting to me about Nintendo's strategy though is also the fact that like Nintendo's have always been considered the kings of left field, right? You never know what they're gonna pull.
Yeah.
And what's curious to me is that they chose very specifically Nintendo, the Pokemon franchise. Now, the Pokemon Company is their own thing, right? They're just a subdivision. Well, not subdivision. I think they operate independently of Nintendo to some extent.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been a Pokemon Company decision to really go into mobile hard, not Nintendo's. But the Pokemon Company went into it really, really hard, and I'm interested to know that out of all the Nintendo franchises, Pokemon was the one to see the biggest explosion of number of games. But the most revenue came out of Fire Emblem, which was not one of the most popular franchises in the world.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon, which is the most popular franchise.
Yeah. Like if they made a gacha with one of their more popular franchises, what would happen? Like what kind of numbers would we see?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Now we're just gonna see like gacha mechanics in Pokemon Unity.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
You know, like maybe, but also I wonder if like I think there's something to say about the fact that the Pokemon audience is probably not intersecting with the gacha audience. I don't think the circles kind of intersect.
Right.
And the Venn diagram, which is probably why they haven't made Pokemon games the gacha games that they are supposed to be. Pokemon Masters is kind of a gacha game. So that's like, but it's catered towards an older Pokemon fan base than a newer one. Like, I'm just constantly staggered at the fact that they're still backing out of the mobile market.
Yeah.
I think that they have experimented so much in the market that they have so much knowledge about their customer base. I think they now have the capability after 1920 games in the App Store of Nintendo franchises, having the data with them, maybe, probably, having all that information, you can now really make like a solid hit, I think, with all that data. That's a lot of data points. You can just make that big data cloud and just parse it through a curation software or curation agency, and the next thing you know, you have the next hit app on your hands, right? Like, that's what I would do. I would just, after 1 billion revenue in the mobile market and 20 games, you are as experienced as one of the older companies like Supercell or King, in making mobile games, because that's how many games that they probably have.
Right.
Probably more. But so yeah, like, although as a Switch owner, I'm happy that they're putting more effort into the Switch.
Oh, definitely.
And pulling out of the mobile market, because I would like some better quality games for my Switch.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
yeah.
So I haven't played Sword and Shield. Right. I know you have, Atty. Evan, have you?
I have not. I don't own a Switch.
Oh, okay. Right. Atty, from the perspective of someone who's actually played the game, what is your honest perspective on it? What do you think?
Pokemon Sword and Shield is like the Wii U. It, not in the fact that it's a failure, because it definitely made a hell of money.
Oh yeah.
In the sense that it is the halfway point between the Switch and the Wii.
Right.
You know? Like, it's a partial transformation. It's not the final form.
Right.
It's like imperfect Super Saiyan 2, you know? It's like Trunks' transformation in Dragon Ball Z. Like, he doesn't fully go into his like wide hair mode when our Super Trunks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it does this weird thing, right, where it's like it's not fully open world.
Mm-hmm.
You have the wild areas, which at first when you walk into them are like, holy shit, this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
At first you're like, this is great. And then you spend some more time in the game, and then you're like, well, okay. Because then you go to the routes of the game, which are like the normal Pokemon games, and you're like,
Mhm.
the routes are also pretty fun. And so Pokemon Sword and Shield for me is an experience that doesn't exploit what it does well, because I'm not a fan of the Dynamax and Gigantamax mechanics.
Right.
Man, big Pokemon, like after Mega Evolution, after Z moves, like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know. So I personally don't find much enjoyment in, oh my god, kaiju Pokemon. That's like I'm not a fan of that. So their gimmick this time was weak in my opinion.
Right.
Although I haven't got the DLC yet, and I have high hopes of the DLC. Some of the Pokemon designs are less good than I expected them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly the legendary Pokemon.
Right.
I wasn't a big fan of them. Even the mythical ones. And as a story, though, I think that Pokemon Sword and Shield is one of the strongest competing stories of Pokemon.
Really?
Because, and solely because of its character development.
Mm.
It does it pretty good, like almost at the Black and White level, in my opinion.
Right.
Which is pretty good, pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I think it's taking cues from Sun and Moon for that.
Right.
I am a big fan of Pokemon battling.
Mm-hmm.
Sun and Moon was like really relaxed, right? It's like, oh yeah, Pokemon are also like friends, and we feed them berries and take them on walks and take them to Sandcastle Kingdom and whatever. But this game is more about like everything's a battle. Like you gotta fight, like that's how you get to the top. It's like the challenge, and that's my vibe. So I feel that a lot. I enjoy like the huge stadium battles. Like, oh shit, this is what I imagine a Pokemon gym challenge really look like. I don't want to go into a Pokemon gym and then have to solve mini puzzles, and then like get to the end of the gym and it's just the Pokemon gym leader sitting on a pedestal being, let's have a fight. The Pokemon battles and gym challenges in Sword and Shield are huge.
Yeah.
Like it's a football stadium, right? And it's like, now I feel this is a real Pokemon battle. Like what I see in the anime, like what I see in the manga, right? This is what I'm talking about. So it captures the essence of battle really well. But everything else is kind of mediocre.
All right.
So you compared it to the Wii U. Do you think we're going to see the Switch later on then?
Yes.
You do.
What do you think that's going to look like?
So I think we're going to see a much more Breath of the Wild Pokemon game. Or we see a total reversal back to the old formula.
Right.
Because Pokemon Company likes to play it safe a lot of the times. This is the most experimental thing they've done with Pokemon so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not saying much. TBH.
Oh dear.
I honestly wish that they don't take Pokemon Sword and Shield and the feedback they got from it as negative. I hope they take it as a positive thing and they build and innovate further, same as the Switch went, right?
Right.
Because the Switch, they like used the Wii U, they learned from the Wii U, and they made Switch, which is like the real vision of the console.
Yeah.
But so I really hope that Pokemon did the same thing with that as well, where they take the game, they learn from their mistake, and they innovate further. They push it more. Like I think that's where the sweet spot's going to be. Where you actually like are walking around in this beautiful. I don't know if you guys have seen the fan creations of Pokemon in 3D. Like there are 3D Pokemon games where you just run around at the same scale of Breath of the Wild almost, right?
Yep.
And you see Pokemon like hanging off of trees and swinging and stuff, and it's like, wow. With cooler graphics. Because I do think the Pokemon games could use the graphic improvement.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like I'm not much of a graphics person generally, but I still think the Pokemon franchise could up its game there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we either see total reversal to the old formula or we see further innovation. and I'm hoping for the latter.
Yeah. Because there is quite a big difference between what I hope for and what I think will honestly happen. I haven't played Sword and Shield, so I won't say like too much on it. But I have been watching RT Games playthrough of it, right? As well as his playthrough of the DLC. And just, it makes me a little sad. Because at the same time as I'm watching this, I'm also playing through Pokemon Black and White 2 for the first time. And the difference between the two is, it's night and day. Because you say that the character development is really good in Sword and Shield, and I do think so for some of the characters, right? You look at B, and their character development is very good.
Even Hop.
Hop? Yeah.
I think Hop's character development's pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Right. And then you look at someone like N, which, to be fair, is Black and White 1, but still, N was such a good character, right? You look at Bianca and her character development, not only in Black and White 1, but carrying on to Black and White 2. I think that Sword and Shield is the Wii U. I think you're right about that. And I hope that when they go to the Switch, they do pull in feedback from Sword and Shield, as well as pulling inspiration from past games. Because that's something Breath of the Wild did very well. It took this tested, tried and true Zelda formula and just said, no, we're going to take the good parts of that and put it into something new, right?
Yeah.
Well, I still think that obviously, I think that the dungeons in Zelda Breath of the Wild aren't the strongest dungeons in this franchise, but at the same time, like, the point of it wasn't the dungeons, right? That wasn't the primary focus.
Yeah.
They prioritized the world over the dungeons.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously Breath of the Wild 2's coming out soon, sometime. I don't know. So who knows? Maybe they'll take the feedback they got on Breath of the Wild as a positive and use it to build off of.
Highest selling Zelda game of all time.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we think about Breath of the Wild and what it iterated on from previous Zelda games. It was less of a guided tour and more of a proper adventure. And I'd really like to see Pokemon do the same, because from what I've seen on Sword and Shield, it really is a guided tour again. With hints at, hey, maybe this could be full-on exploration. So maybe, just let the player go wild, do what they want to do. I'd be curious to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
and I think
trust the players a bit, I think.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Because I don't think Nintendo understands that. Maybe they do. Maybe they've done the testing. Maybe they actually have the numbers behind this. But I don't. It's a hard speculation to make, but I don't think Nintendo has the best user experience practices and user research practices in the world.
Yeah.
So and this is just my assumption. I'm not saying it's true. But like, from what the games we were seeing, obviously. But it was so, Sword and Shield was so handholdy. And I know that I might not be the primary audience looking to target, right? It's probably the kids. But I know my brother was playing the game on my Switch earlier, and was it my brother or was somebody else? I think it was another kid. I forget who it was. Not my brother. But
they all look, they blend together. Yeah.
They were like, "Wow, stop talking, let me go already." Like, that was their attitude, right? And I'm like, yeah. When we were kids, we had, when we were younger. No, it's like I think the spirit of adventure doesn't change depending on your age, right? it's the same curiosity that drives everybody at the end. And so like
Mhm.
even if you hold out the NES Zelda, the very original Zelda, which give you like no instructions, it gave you here, take this stage to go out alone, right, and that's it. And then you're like, well, okay, and so and then you just explore this giant world on the NES.
Yeah.
That's what we played when we were kids. We played Metroid, which gives you no instructions. They're like, here, go forward. Okay,
Yeah.
now what? We had no instructions. And I think that benefited us, and it really amplified the experience. I would be interested to see Nintendo try to embrace that a little bit more in their next Pokemon game, and not make it as handholdy.
Yeah.
I think that it might be going with the assumptions that kids are dumb. Now kids are the smartest things in existence. So like I would trust the player. You're right, Evan. I would trust the player a little bit more.
Yeah.
To know what to do.
Yeah. Like looking back on Pokemon games and how they hold your hands, I think Fire Red and Leaf Green actually did it best because they gave you like that portable TV that had all those tutorials for different parts of the game, and it was entirely optional what you had to watch.
Yeah.
And it's like if you played the game before, you don't need to watch that. Like the only required tutorial in that game is the cutscene.
Yeah.
And that's been a thing in every game. And it's kind of sad that, you know, a game released in Generation 3 had the best take on tutorials when we're on Generation 8. It's like would like to see them go back to something like that. Again, it goes back to trusting the players and knowing what to do or knowing where to look to know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Ruby and Sapphire did the best job for that, in my opinion. Because first it taught you how to attack, and then they taught you how to catch later on, which I think is actually more interesting. In the way it reduces cognitive load, but I totally agree. Giving the players the option is the biggest thing. Giving the players options is what makes for good gameplay. It makes for a good game. It's more accessible too. And Pokemon, like with Sword and Shield, as handholdy as it felt, I could sense that the wild area is a step in the right direction. I could sense it. Like the moment I stepped into the wild area, I'm like, yeah, we're almost there. You know?
Yeah.
That feeling just took over me. And I was like, yeah, shit. Some of the Pokemon are super fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, God, there's this electric dog Pokemon that I forget the name of now. I just call him Denki. And he's my favorite, dude. He's so cute, and I love him, and he's so fast, and so he's like the best Pikachu that we never had so far. So I love him. And yeah, like I love having my Bonham Gorilla drum monkey. Like that's cool, man. I like that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like so. I think Pokemon Sword and Shield got some things right, but I think it's the Wii U.
Yeah.
It's the Wii U series.
I hope so. I hope they go to the Switch and not back to the Wii.
Yeah.
Because I want to be honest, I don't remember a single thing that happened in X and Y. And I 100%ed that game.
No.
The only thing I remember from X and Y is the meme of "It's been 3,000 years." It's the only thing I remember from
That
X
was
and
from
Y.
X and Y?
Yeah, dude. Oh man, yeah. If anything, I think the reason Sun and Moon story is so memorable to me personally is because it's so wacky. It's like you're aliens. I'm like, cool. I like aliens.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah, it's like, here's a nice chill beach environment. You know, we're just chilling in Hawaii, having a good time. Oh, by the way, aliens. And everyone's like, what?
What a crossover, like Hawaii and tropical with this strange, like, intergalactic story.
So, I remember there's a Rainbow Rocket, like, side quest post-game stuff, and you're like, oh, by the way, all the villains are conglomerated now and they're all in the same place. And you're like, what?
Why are you telling me this? I'm on vacation here, please.
Man. Yeah. Sun and Moon was, I think, is a good time. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon was a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm loving the Pokemon 2019 anime. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, good love. I recommend it if people haven't watched it yet. It's you get to see Ash Ketchum, the 10-year-old, now in a mentor's role. And you're like, this is a game changer. I never knew my boy Ash won his first ever league championship, and now he's finally become a mentor. Wow, character development after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Insane.
Insane. Oh man. Yeah.
All right.
How much time are we at?
We're at like an hour-ish.
Oh, cool. We can talk about stuff now. Cool.
Yeah.
Sick. I actually, on the topic of Pokemon and kind of going into our make section of the podcast, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on if you were to design a Pokemon game, how would you redesign it? Or if you were in charge of a Pokemon game, how would you do it?
For legal purposes, I am not in fact developing a Pokemon fan game. I am simply testing my development capabilities, designing a Pokemon-like experience that will not be distributed anywhere. Now that that's out of the way, hi, I'm working on a Pokemon Gen 4 style remake in Unity. The real Pokemon Unity.
The real Pokemon Unity.
And this kind of ties back into the whole, like, fans developing the game know what people like and push that to the forefront. Obviously I'm in very early stages since I'm the only one working on this right now, but I have ideas for what I want it to look like. I want there to be the difficulty levels from Black and White, except unlocked at the beginning instead of unlocked after you beat the game.
Yep.
Yeah. I want there to be like variable AI levels. Because that does exist in the actual official games, where different trainers will have different levels of AI, but I don't think they take it far enough. I want to train and what's the word? Where you just have two AIs go against each other?
Parent-child neural network.
Yeah, one of those. And just train it how to play Pokemon, how to battle. And just like suddenly the second time you fight the leader, they're on the level of a competitive Pokemon player.
Yeah, I would love to see adaptive Pokemon AI. That'd be so sick.
Yeah.
Adapt to your strategies as they play. That sounds really cool.
And then drawing from open world, because it's Gen 4, we want to do the underground in the style of the wild area in Sword and Shield. Because I feel like that has a lot of capabilities, right? The underground. Well, I don't want there to be a set sort of order for the gyms. If you go to one gym before another, suddenly their team is set to like this level, this many Pokemon, right? Versus if you come to them later on, they'll have a full team of 6, level 50 Pokemon, right?
Out of curiosity, talking about that, did Platinum have a branching path you could take, like in the game, in terms of routes and cities?
Don't think so.
The map. Then is there a point to doing that? Just because like you want to take a linear path in the map anyway?
Well, obviously because it's not like a recreation, we can take some liberties with the original story and the original storyline, and we can have you go in different paths. That's something from Gen 1 and the Gen 3 remake, where you can, after you're finished, because the first 2 or 3 gyms, 3 gyms, the next 3 you can do in any order, right? So I think that's something that is done well and that future Pokemon games should do, right?
Yeah, no, I'm curious to ask. You're gonna have the same characters in your recreation thingy
Yes.
as Platinum,
but
Got it.
we might include. I kind of want to include Colress because I think he's a very fun character to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so when you're redesigning like the systems and stuff, and you talk about redesigning the map and the narrative, but are you also redesigning the battle system by any chance?
So this is something I'm going back and forth a lot on. I do want to use the original battle system as a base to work off of, because there's a lot of stuff in there that people not only are used to, but works, right? I used to play competitive Pokemon for a bit. And so I've seen what people do not like about the battle system. And I'm trying to come up with ways to possibly take a little bit of randomness out of it. Because I know one of my friends, when he quit competitive Pokemon, said it's essentially just a coin flip simulator at the end of the day. If you have two people of equal skills using the most meta Pokemon, it just all comes down to a coin flip. Who wins? Mm-hmm. And I think that when I make this new battle system, I don't know how yet, because obviously this is very early. But I want it to be, even if it's like you have the exact same team, exact same IVs, EVs as the opponent, there's still a way for you to have have skill decide it better, I think.
I think it'd be interesting to take into account, like, just an idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of wild ideas. Like, what if the Pokemon battle system was like Pokemon Conquest?
Right.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a tactical RPG, like, what would that look like?
Yeah.
What if your battle system was like, I don't know, if you had like different variables on the same battle system screen, but you have the variables like terrain or like possible actions that you can take as free actions or bonus actions on the map, right? Like you know how in the anime like Ash does weird shit like Pikachu bouncing her tail and act like a lightning rod, right? Like that kind of stuff. Why can't we have that flexibility of imagination in a Pokemon battle system?
Right.
That's my design challenge. I think that'd be a cool design challenge to do.
Yeah, because I personally really enjoyed the rotation battles in Black and White. I think those were very well done. Just having the ability to switch out which Pokemon's at the front, and like not knowing if your opponent's gonna switch out too. It brings in a level of prediction that you have to do. It's something I think I can build off of, pull inspiration from past games to make something new.
Yeah. I'm trying to go back and think about like what I consider my favorite moments playing for the Pokemon games as a kid. And I think I found a theme. Because for one, my favorite Pokemon game is Pokemon Conquest.
Right.
Even though it's a spin-off. And then I'm thinking in the main series, like one of my favorite moments, and it's like, well, in 4th Gen, when Rowan sends you, your rival, and the assistant off to all the different lakes after Team Plasma attacks. Or not Team Plasma, Team Galactic. That was one of my favorite moments. And then I'm thinking, okay, Black and White, there's that moment at the end where all the gym leaders go to fight the like higher-ups of Team Plasma. And I'm thinking with all those, well, the thing that's in common is that you feel like you're part of something larger.
Right.
Like, you're not just a kid solo taking on the evil team or whatever, or you're not just a kid going to get all the gym badges, you're part of a larger organization with something a bit loftier goals.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of how you can make a main series Pokemon game that isn't necessarily just going to all the different gym leaders, but being part of an organization like that and bringing that feeling out more often.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same with
that is what I would like to see.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
This is all very good stuff for me. But enough about me. Atty, what was your dream Pokemon game?
My dream Pokemon game is a Pokemon open worlds MMORPG, where you can, which is now possible with improbable spatial OS, in my opinion. But where players are actively kind of scouring through this giant world, scale of Breath of the Wild, maybe bigger. And you still have the regional differences, right? Like, for example, the desert has like desert Pokemon on it. And the closest thing that I've had to that kind of experience in Pokemon is Pixelmon.
Yeah.
In the Minecraft mod. That's the closest experience I've had to that, right? Because Minecraft is PCG worlds, so your world's infinite. And you have multiplayer, so you have servers that used to be there. And man, like I love that stuff. I was hooked onto it for like months. There was a Pixelmon server I was on where you just had a entire organization, right? There was gym leaders who were like actual people, and then they would have like their own shifts. So you'd have to time your challenges according to the shifts and be in queue to challenge gym leader. Gym leaders were strong. They would actually have moves that kind of screw your team over, because if you played a certain type, you get destroyed. The rock type gym had like thunder, volt tackle, or whatever else it was, and it was just like shit getting screwed over here. Yeah, like it would, and I could just like build a house like on a random hill because that's where like Riolu spawned. And I was make a Riolu farm, and I was breed Riolus and sell the eggs. Like right, that was an entire thing I was doing. They had a Pokemon breeding system. Random legendaries would spawn over like random areas of the map. You have to go find them before everybody else does. We had boss Pokemon who dropped cool items and HMs and TMs. You could go like build your own like Pokemon healers and all that other stuff in your Pokeballs. Like Pixelmon was the ultimate Pokemon experience, and it wasn't even made by Nintendo. It was a fan thing.
Yeah.
Going back to the theme of fans know what people want the most.
Yeah.
And so like, imagine if we had Pixelmon, but as an actual Pokemon game made by the designers of Pokemon.
Yeah.
With Game Freak and everybody else kind of working on that, and then you have like this giant open world Breath of the Wild. It's like, oh my god, thinking about it, getting my mind racing because I just want that right now so bad.
Well, okay. So, Pixelmon got shut down, didn't it?
It did for a while.
Okay.
It's back up
different
again,
names.
now.
Yeah. They just released Gen 8 Pokemon actually.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So TGD Pixelmon server 1.
Soon.
Yo, I'm so hyped. Let's do that. That actually sounds like such a good idea. I'm so down for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an exec anymore. You guys do that.
So, about this whole like, oh, I wish the main games would take after this fan game. Sonic Mania. So, Sonic has had a bit of a rough time since the move to 3D, and but people still were fans of the series, and they're like, oh, if I could make a Sonic game, I'd make it like this. And one of those people was Christian Whitehead, who designed his own Sonic fan games in like 2008, and then he made a proof of concept for a Sonic CD remake, or like a port. And so he pitched that to Sega, and Sega said yes. And they had to make Sonic CD, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and then they were like, all right, guess what? you can make your own game with us. And he makes Sonic Mania. Have you guys played Sonic Mania?
Yeah,
I'm not.
It's so much fun.
it's actually really fun.
It's so good. It perfectly captures everything that people like about Sonic, because guess what? It's made by people who like Sonic.
Oof. Unlike the movie.
No?
I actually watched the movie and went back to play Sonic Mania just to kind of clear my head of all the garbage I consumed.
I think the movie was okay, but mostly because of Jim Carrey.
It was I can understand why video game movies are taboo now. Really.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fair enough. But I wish Nintendo, and specifically the Pokemon Company / Game Freak, took inspiration from Sega. I wish they would.
I think it's just recruit the fans.
Yeah.
Taking trust the fans to another level.
Yeah, exactly. Because they know what they want, and I feel like the whole like cease and desist everything is not the best way to go about it. Did you see? Do you know She Says? The dude who runs Boundary Break. So, Boundary Break is this show on YouTube where this dude, he can take the camera in a video game anywhere he wants, and he shows you all the little like hidden things inside of each game.
Oh, Boundary Break. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen some videos.
So, he did one for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and he's like, in the video, he's like, don't do anything I do in this, because like this game is a piece of art, right? And the developers worked hard on this. I'm just here to show you like all the cool things that went into making this, right? Nintendo sent out a copyright strike against that video.
Oof.
Yeah, and so he made an open letter to Nintendo, specifically Doug Bowser, and it's really tough to see that, because like this is a fan who loves what the developers are doing and wants to showcase that, and Nintendo's just saying no outright.
Yeah, I think I have been a Nintendo fan for a very long time. My first ever console was a Nintendo console, and I've been attached to the company, and I've bought most of my consoles Nintendo consoles. The only non-Nintendo console I have is a PS4, literally. And so for me, it's also tough to see that, because I don't think Nintendo says they appreciate the fan base, but I think at the end of it, Nintendo's a Japanese company, right?
Yeah.
And we all know that Japanese culture and Japanese work culture has a very respect the elders. Elders know best. Kind of take on things, and they also have Japan also has slight auteur obsession going on. With you'll play all Sakurai games, you'll play all Miyamoto games, you'll play all Kojima games.
Yeah.
And it's just the auteur kind of that kind of culture. And I think that a combination of those two things is bad news to the fans. Because that in no way is giving fans any power.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I want them to change that, because a lot of other companies are changing that now, right? They're listening to the fans, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I hope it's working.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the success of Sonic Mania. Like, it's the best Sonic game out there. Period.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm waiting for Nintendo to start giving some more freedom to people who aren't I think they're doing that kind of with Metroid, right? It's like how they gave Retro Studios kind of the wheelhouse on Metroid Prime, and everything else. That was a success. The Prime games were some of the best Metroid games that came out, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with Return of Samus for the 3DS. Like it's a great game because they handed the kind of rights to it to a company that actually are a huge fan of the Metroid series. So for me, like they're doing it with some franchises, but not others, and that's kind of what is puzzling me a lot. Like, and I think what I'm seeing, in my opinion, is that it's because of the divide between Nintendo and the Pokemon Company as two separate entities with their own decision making trees, and I think it's just a management problem when it comes to the Pokemon Company in particular that is in charge of all the weird copyright strikes. But also, you're right, the Nintendo, even as a company, I don't think trusts their fans enough.
Yeah.
Because they do have a very loyal fan base, like some of the most loyal fan bases in any console market, right? Like Nintendo fans are hardcore, man. Like they are. And I mean, I follow a bunch of Nintendo YouTubers, and I've seen them start complaining about their experiences with Nintendo, and I'm just like, these guys like are just promoting your stuff. Like they're on your side.
Oh yeah.
Like why are you making their lives hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think it's necessarily the biggest and best thing to do, but their decisions are their decisions, and I think that until the newer generation becomes older, I don't think we're gonna see much. Like right now, the people who are perhaps junior developers, intermediate developers at Nintendo and Pokemon and Game Freak, when they become managerial like leaders, that's when you're gonna start seeing a more flexible outlook, I think.
Yeah.
Hope.
Hopefully.
Because they grew up with the changes that we want to see.
Yeah.
Same with the film industry. Like, why is D&D booming right now? Why is D&D booming right now? It's because everyone who grew up playing D&D is now promoting D&D.
Yeah.
And so now we have Critical Role, and now we have Dungeons and Dragons and Stranger Things and all the other stuff, right?
Yep.
Same thing.
It's nostalgia is the cycle.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
I think Pokemon right now is a franchise that hinges on nostalgia as much as it tries to build off of a newer player base.
Yeah.
I still think it's extremely dependent on nostalgia.
Yes.
Which I don't think it needs to be, because I think that with a clever design, rework, and redesign of the series, it can captivate multiple audiences.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a formula that works. Catch things, battle with them. Congratulations, you've made the best-selling franchise in the world.
Yeah, but I also think they shouldn't stick to the formula. I think that the formula is cashing in on the nostalgia. Maybe now is the time to break out of that and actually explore different outlets.
Yeah.
Which they are. Like, to be fair, they're exploring different outlooks. It's just that they're not doing it right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe no more new forms for Charizard for a while. Break away from that.
Oh no,
man. I would like to see some more Swampert love, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Some more Mudkips in my games. Thank you very much.
Torterra.
Torterra was a good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gen 4 had some of the best starters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Gen 4, Absolutely. Gen 3.
Gen 4 has my favorite Pokemon of all time, too.
Empoleon?
Gallade.
Yeah. Gallade's pretty good.
Yep, good choice.
Yeah.
So one thing I did want to ask, as a fun little question that is kind of towards the end of the segment, is totally unrelated to most of what we talked about. But I wanted to ask you guys the question of, what is your ideal dream game that you want to work on? What does it look like in your head?
Shashank, you want to take lead on this?
I was gonna hand it off to you. Okay. I would work on something story based, an RPG in 3D. That's all I. That's all I got.
AAA titles.
Yeah. I don't know if that is my dream title or not. That's one of. I'd want to work on like some kind of AAA Witcher 3 style game. Or a 2D platformer with very little story. Right?
Cool. I think out of reach. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good scope.
I think if we're talking absolute ideals, you know, like infinite resources, one of my favorite aesthetics is the magical forest, like what you see in Ori. So I'd love to see a 3D Ori almost in terms of aesthetics. But almost if y'all have played Warframe, the movement in that game is top tier for me.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see the movement become a focus in a game. Movement for the sake of mobility and for freedom, rather than, you know, helping you shoot people in Warframe or whatever. So I think, I don't know, just the idea of exploring a forest like that with that kind of freedom of movement,
Yeah,
would be something I would love to see or love to make as well.
Yeah.
My friend, I have a game recommendation for you.
Are we jumping into Games Den Recommends already?
No. This is to the side. This is to the side. This is underneath the table.
I'm listening.
There's a game called by Zoink Studios called Feya. It's Fe. That's it.
Okay.
Google it.
I will.
Play it.
Okay.
It is almost what you're talking about.
All right.
I think you would really like it because it is the magical.
I probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool platform. That's pretty sick though. I really like the magical forest aesthetic too.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. It's really.
Well,
So what about you? What would you make, Atty?
I'm not as good at scoping as you guys are.
You were the one who asked the question, man.
Yeah, I know. So people don't know this about me. This is a question not many people ask me, so I don't get a chance to share this a lot. But my ideal dream game is an MMORPG. Mostly because I am a huge fan of community-driven games.
Right.
And I think that games have the power to kind of make those communities and share good ideals. So I'm taking cues from Journey and Sky here. My dream game is to make an MMORPG that is in either AR or VR. I'm talking like Sword Art Online.
Okay.
You know, like it's as cheesy as it sounds. Like when I first watched Sword Art Online, and I know it's like a fairly trash anime, but I like it. I love it actually. So, but the reason I like it and love it is because of the idea that in MMORPGs there's meta knowledge from the real world you're bringing to this fictional world, but you're purposefully making etiquette and rules to keep that out of your fantasy. I think that is powerful. I think that's actually really powerful.
Yeah.
Because that just it's like, yeah, it's the ultimate way to kind of it's the ultimate form of escapism, which is what games effectively are.
Yeah.
So for me, like that's really really cool. And you put it in VR, AR, and now you have like even more immersive realities. Damn, like for me that's a winning combo. So when I first found out about isekai as a genre and Sword Art Online, I'm like, that shit's dope. Like I want to be the guy who makes that. Like that sounds amazing. Without the part where trapping all the players and killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like that's kind of my dream game. Like I would love to be part of a game like that, and I think that reality is getting closer. Ever since I first watched that anime, I still like follow some accounts on my Twitter and my YouTube and other stuff where people post updates about like virtual reality improvements in terms of MMO systems and stuff like that. And I also watched many tutorials on like I stay up to date with the VR world and the AR world all the time. Like I'm a huge fan of those mixed reality systems and technologies. That's what the future is. And I would be interested to see how people can develop a proper MMO for that. I think it'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Time's not now. But maybe when I'm 70 years old, I'll have the chance to consult on a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really sick.
Yep.
All right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now that we've shared our ideal games, man, I feel terrible now because my game's like it's 50 years away, and you guys have like, oh yeah, I can work on this right now, you know, like. But yeah, we should hop into the outro section and games Dan recommends.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I can go first because mine is kind of related to what we've been talking about the entire episode. I would recommend going back and playing older Pokemon games. It's because it's a series that relies so heavily on nostalgia. It kind of twists and distorts what you remember about each game. So going back and playing it can be like, oh man, either this was more fun than I remember, or this was not as fun as I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that with Black and White 2, which to be fair, I hadn't played before. And I might do it again with Platinum after Black and White 2. Yeah.
Evan, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm going to recommend a form of activity as well. Think about what you're worst at in game dev, whether it's like art, music, or programming or whatever, and just do that. Honestly,
yeah.
Like make a game focused around that. It's like I've been trying to do that recently. I started drawing again. I've started trying to reteach myself piano after not playing for over a year. Like who cares? End of the day, like if you think you're bad at art, doesn't matter. You can still make something cool. Make an art game. Do it.
All right.
And yeah.
That's a good suggestion, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of feel terrible with my suggestion now. I recommend scrolling through Twitter and Facebook and looking at really, really cool dice.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one.
I have fallen into multiple different holes of pleasure on the internet of infinite scrolling while looking at stuff like Dispel dice, Wormwood dice. Like, oh man, I really, really want wooden dice.
Yeah.
You know, as impractical as they are, like I would really, really want some wooden dice.
You know what rabbit
Dispel
hole
dice looks so sick. Yeah.
You know what rabbit hole I fell in a little bit ago? Making your own dice. And like all of the stuff needed for that. I'm like, I could realistically do this. This is a dangerous rabbit hole to jump into.
Yeah. Damn. We have some local dice makers here in Edmonton, like ice cream dice, and they're really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go look at dice. They're pretty.
They are shiny math rocks.
Shiny math rocks.
Hopefully, I get some that aren't cursed.
Yeah. Good luck with that. There's a really cool test to test if your dice are balanced. You just put a lot of salt in your water, and then put the dice into the liquid, and you see if it's a face up or if it's like tilted towards an edge.
Okay.
And it'll reveal whatever comes face up is the dice that it's weighted towards.
Ooh.
Cool little test to test if your dice are balanced or not.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to test this out.
Yeah. It's actually pretty sick. I found a dice that's weighted towards 19, my D20, and
that's the one you use when you're DMing, huh?
Oh no.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Any closing?
Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Any closing thoughts before I do our usual outro?
What is our philosophy of the day?
Fans know what's best.
Fans know what's best.
Trust your players.
Yeah.
Trust your players.
I always try to like. Last episode, I feel like I did this kind of poorly, but if there's something I'm like, oh, that's an interesting topic. Let me mention it multiple times in the episode so I can make it the title.
Hey man, do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Producing a show is. And with that, we are a small podcast. We're on episode 5, which is actually like we're getting there, right?
Yep.
But still, we love to take your feedback. You're the fans, you know what's best. So if there's anything that you think we could do better at, let us know. Anything you think that we're doing good at, let us know, and we'll keep doing it. Yeah. And just join the conversation, really. We'd love to hear from you. Join our Discord at thegamesden.ca. You can find the link there. And just, yeah, we do this for you.
Well, kinda.
We also just love to hear ourselves talk. Let's be real.
We gotta fuel our egos.
All right. On that note, see you guys next time.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.